Uh-oh, we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gail Morgan welcoming you to the Libertarian Counterpoint's Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. You've heard their point, now listen to the counterpoint.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. Today is June 16th, 2021. 5 months into the Biden administration, lots of crazy stuff is ongoing. Many states are now lifting their COVID restrictions. Some of our liberties are returning, not enough in my view. Let me though introduce our panel. Today, in my upper left-hand corner, is our champion of choice, Jason McPhee. He's an engineer with the state of California. In the upper right-hand corner is our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett. He's a pilot in the state of California, not with the state of California. He has made that clear to us many, many times. And you would notice that we are doing something a little bit different today. I am hosting the show. I am Leon Brathwaite, the last word in liberty. I am a retired engineer from the state of California. But I am hosting the show today. I just want to let you know what's going on. We have fired Jason as our host. That's what happened. No, we have not. No, we have not. We will be, from time to time.
This happened. This is a follow-up to January 6th. They stormed the Capitol. It's just part of the fallout now.
I thought it was because we woke up and wanted more blackness in our hosting.
Yes, we got woke. It's time for some real diversity here now. Come on now.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. I am black and an immigrant. You got to check all the boxes now. Anyway, so from time to time we will be rotating on the host. I'm sure at some time in the future, Tim will probably be doing this also. Next month, because of some scheduling issues, I will probably have to do a little more hosting to get us through the weeks that Jason is out traveling. God knows where. We'll have to find out about that at some point in time. So let us get into the topics. The first topic today, as will be the continuing theme of this show, will be corruption. We're going to be talking about corruption in the government, corruption in our media, corruption in reporting certain things that I find quite disturbing. One of the problems that we are finding in our government, in the federal government in particular, is this lack of transparency. But really, when you think about it, the lack of transparency is how Big Brother, try to cover up their misdeeds. Anyway, recently, ex-Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was on one of the shows on Fox News, I believe it was, and he said that within the State Department, there was great resistance, or there probably is ongoing resistance to discovering the origins of the COVID virus. We have some information that suggests it came out of Wuhan, China, but nobody wants to go any deeper, apparently, within the State Department. I find this quite disturbing, given the fact that to date, 600,000 of our fellow citizens have died because of this virus. So what do you guys think about this? Corruption in government, or are they just looking out for us, trying to help us?
Go ahead, Jason. You haven't done this for a while.
Yeah. Well, they're always just trying to help, right? I mean, they're trying to help themselves to a little bit of our liberty.
So our liberty, exactly. Yes.
Yes, but the crazy thing is that it's hard to even know who's responsible for this, right? I mean, the idea that there was questions about who was funding this and who was blocking the investigation into, finding out, what happened in the Chinese lab. So maybe it wouldn't come back on the United States. I mean, Was that the Trump administration that was, getting in the way? Was it, sort of deep staters, that are getting in the way? Guys like Fauci, career bureaucrats. It's hard to say, but I think the one thing it does make clear is that, whose hands are the right hands to put all this power in? We put all this power in government, and we just assume they're doing things in our interest.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're trying to do good or not, look at the pandemic that was just created, and then look at what they did to fix that problem. They kind of lied about a lot of stuff. They took away our liberties,
Yeah.
all because, hey, we're the government and we're here to help. So I don't know. What do you think, Screaming Eagle?
I'm shocked, I say, that the government doesn't want to investigate into something that may have been caused by the government. I'm just totally amazed that they don't want to look into their own dealings in there. Well, I guess we could argue. Jason brought up that, we give all this power to government. I'm not sure what we gave and what was just ripped right out of our hands, or I should say, out of the hands of the Constitution. Where does it give the federal government the power to do all these kinds of experimentations on mutating viruses? What part of the Declaration or the Constitution is that little article section in giving them that power? However we got to this point, Jason's absolutely correct. The government is just it's a leviathan. It's an enormous monster. It's a monstrosity, and it's sucking the life out of the United States. I mean, every economy has limitations. I mean, because if it's as I adjust my recently repaired knee here, I think I'm going to close that door up there. Every economy is dependent upon levels of freedom and of transparency in their government to prosper, and it's just does not bode well for the future, and I don't expect it to change at all. Just get worse. And we're here, I think, as libertarians to try to slow down the Leviathan, the growth of the Leviathan. It's like a cancer, and we're whittling away at little pieces of this enormous cancer that keeps growing, and doing such wondrous things to the world as potentially. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, this is what happened. I don't know what happened at Wuhan any more than I know what happened in the next door city, whatever that might be, in China. But to say we're the State Department, we're not going to look into it. We're going to thwart any activity to look into it. That's just pure despotism. That's all that is. It's tyranny with a capital T.
Yes. But what is quite disturbing about all of this is that the fact that some of our dollars apparently went to that lab in China where the virus may have origin, and some of the dollars were probably used for some of this gain of function research. Now, I don't know. I've said before, I don't know what this gain of function research really mean. Are they talking about biological weapons? Are they talking about something that is going to help us deal with future pandemics? I don't know, but apparently some of our tax dollars were used in this regard. I find it quite disturbing. I really do. I don't know if you guys do. Either one of you guys wanted to add anything to that?
Wow, I'm gonna. If I'm disturbed by those uses of dollars spent by the federal government, I'm gonna, just spend my life being bent out of shape, because the magnitude of spending is just completely out of control. I mean, completely. It's just unbelievable. But and some people cheer it. Oh my God, how wonderful! You know,
Yeah,
oh,
yes,
they're spending money on this or that or some other, you know, silly little thing, and they think it's awesome. But anyway, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, it's disturbing to me, but I have to. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very, very frustrating.
indeed, indeed.
Jason?
Well, Tim, I think though you asked a question earlier, or you made a comment earlier in your first remarks, and you said, I don't know when we gave up these liberties to government, and essentially how this happens is every little piece where we're okay allowing government to take on more and become bigger. I mean, if we really want a more libertarian view of government, as a people, we have to be about principled in holding government simple, small, and transparent, so that we know what's happening. Because, like Leon said, we don't even know exactly what's being done there with these tax dollars in Wuhan. They're being spent under a government that is, you know, a Chinese government that clearly does not necessarily have America's best interest at heart.
Right, exactly. Very good point. Yes.
Well, yeah, and the idea that we don't know, and then that our own officials, such as Fauci, who I think you're going to talk about in a second,
Yes.
but
Yes.
they just flat out lie to us, and they always have good reasons, right, for the lying, you know. And Snowden showed us this. I mean, I think it's just, by the way, it's a little bit of a sidetrack, but I think it's just criminal, the fact that we are morally criminal, that we're just leaving Snowden out to dry with all this, when he showed us this corruption flat out, where the government was literally lying to Congress.
Yes.
When they asked them questions. And then he's the one who is held out in limbo.
As a villain.
Yes, exactly. That's just terrible. I mean, you know, what he did was the act of a patriot, at least for the information that's been made available to us so far. That's what Snowden did. I mean, he literally.
Who are you referring to? I'm sorry, I missed
Eric Snowden. He's the
one. Snowden.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And the only reason I mentioned that is because, you know, we have these officials like Fauci just flat out lying to us, and they have good reasons. You know, in the case of Snowden, that was one where literally the government was flat out lying, and he exposed it. And Fauci actually exposes himself. He's so full of himself. He just comes right out and says, "Yeah, I lied to you, but I had a really good reason."
Yeah. We lied to you, but it's highly justified, very justified. You know,
well, to wax a little bit philosophic, I wish that if was not such a big if. If people want a smaller, limited by a constitution type government, but I think it's not at all been determined. In fact, I think judging from friends that I have on Facebook, they just want more, and the government to have more and more and more power, and they're more than willing to chastise themselves at the altar of government to give up anything and everything. It's not quite, but almost as if they would sacrifice their own mother at the altar of the government if required by the government. I mean, maybe that might be a little bit going a little too far.
Sounds a little Orwellian, you know. Sacrifice your parents.
A little bit Naziist. Is that a word? A little bit Nazi there, but yeah. Oh, are we going to get clobbered for saying Nazi?
Yeah. No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We're naughty.
We'll take our chances.
We're naughty for saying Nazi. But anyway, yeah. So I just wish that it wasn't, you know. But here's, to me, the truth is that we're just a minority crying out in the wilderness for a return to, you know, at this point in time, I'll take less fast rate of growth. Okay, slow down the rate of growth of government a little bit. Okay, how about that? Can I have that? You know, but seriously, It just doesn't look like it, especially judging from friends. And some friends are on the left, they're Democrats, and they want more and more and more government. But as long as the Democrats are in charge, then it's hunky dory. And then the people on the right want more and more and more and more government. As long as the Republican that's doing the more government stuff, then puppies' tails wag faster, kitties purr louder, the sky is bluer, and on and on.
So we have a good segue into the next topic about Mr. Fauci.
Kitty
Fauci
cats.
seems like a very popular guy these days, but popular for the wrong reasons, I would think. As it turned out, we had a freedom of information request. I don't know who it came from. I read the article, I forgot. But in the emails there were about 10,000 emails that came out that were all Fauci's email, like he sent them or received them. I don't know if you guys remember, but sometime early in the pandemic, Fauci told us it is most likely, using his very authoritarian voice, very authoritative voice, it's very likely that this had a natural origin. He was talking about the COVID. Well, his emails show that around the same time, which was very early in the pandemic, Fauci was aware of the possibility that this thing may have come out from the Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China. So there we go again, Mr. Fauci, our authority on these infectious diseases, lying to us. And the media is still there propping him up. So what do you guys think about this now? About the Fauci emails and all the information and revelations that have come from it? Tim, why don't you start us off on this?
Okay, then I'll just say what I've said before. If you have half a brain, stop watching the mainstream news. Okay, just stop right now. You're an idiot for watching the mainstream news, and you're getting just a bunch of misinformation. Now, if you watch it and you have other trusted sources to go through to get a different view and another
like the
view.
Knuckleheads.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go. Yes.
I was thinking about more experts in the field, and the internet is full of them. But you got to hunt them down. You got to use your brain. I'm not saying I know everything either, but I'm just saying that. If you're just getting your news from the mainstream media, even Facebook, which has now become the new mainstream media, I've noticed, then you really need to reevaluate your behavior there.
Okay.
Well, I think it's you definitely have to have multiple sources. That's definitely been proven to us in the last 4 years that they're just echo chambers all over the place, and people are just coming out with this, I guess, incredulous, belief in all kinds of fiction that it's just sort of tearing the world apart. But I think the most disturbing thing about all this, and we see with Fauci lying, with the WHO maybe being a little compromised by China, all these different sources. Who has the facts, right? I mean, the idea that there is a source of facts, and these idea that we put these experts like a Fauci or some other government expert, we hold them up and say that is the truth. I mean, it's really dangerous. I mean, Fauci was literally saying things that weren't true. He acknowledged they weren't true. And yet, if you said things that were opposite of what Fauci or the WHO said at some point, that you would get, your shows, your voice would be minimized or canceled on different platforms.
Yes.
And certainly different media outlets would just completely filter it out. Like CNN or some of those others that just literally just tell their side of the story, and that's it. But this is just something. I think that's the real thing that this has really pulled off. The real mask that's come off is that we really have to be conscious and aware of the fact that there is no paragon of the truth to go to out there. We all have to work towards getting there. It's not just going to be handed to us.
Yeah,
and that's a good point. That's a good point about working towards the truth, because social media and the mainstream media have been very active in blocking alternate views. I mean, very early in the pandemic, when Fauci said, that is most likely was the original source. It came from a bat or whatever, or some wild animal. I mean, and anybody who said anything else other than that, or even suggested that they came out of a lab, they were blocked on Facebook and Twitter and these other places. And we saw the mainstream media talking about this was really some sort of conspiracy theories. But the point is, though, what is happening is this corruption now, where the mainstream media and the government is joining forces to deceive us. That is what is happening now. Either they're blocking news, they're blocking information by, like on their platform, just like you indicated, Jason, or they're dismissing it as conspiracy theory. Facebook is now telling us now, oh, new information is now available, so now we could talk about it. Okay, maybe this show probably would have been banned if not for the fact that now the lab theory seemed to have some legs. So here we are again now, where the mainstream media, which is supposed to be free or free press, is constitutionally mandated, but yet they are joining forces with the government against us. What do you guys think?
No, yeah, you're right. Well, exactly. And now so has the social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. They've joined forces with the government, or been highly willing to pick up the banner and carry it into battle for the government, for whatever the government says. If the government says, the sky is green, then they are going to block and get rid of anybody that's going to argue the sky is blue. Okay, yeah. No, the sky is not blue any longer. Now it is green, as been voiced by the government, and so therefore we will not allow this dissident viewpoint. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, that means that people like us are not going to gravitate, or not going to fight that losing battle with those gigantic, enormous, multi-bazillion dollar corporations that have joined, that are now complicit with the government. We'll find other avenues. There's as many as there are shouting us down, that we cannot talk, even mention the mere possibility of some other answer, or some other question, or some other methodology, or some other cure. If that's going to be the case, we will find 8,000 more places that we can voice those concerns and talk about it. And we have, and we will. And unless they want to come out to our houses and physically, or just shut down our internet in every which way possible as that, including over the airwaves now, which is pretty much impossible, I would assume. Well, maybe I can't say it is. They could cancel my AT&T account with my iPhone, and then I can't. My LTE goes to 0 bars, and I can't access the internet through my phone. Okay, they can do that. They want to do that, then go right ahead. There'll be a way that I will find that I can access the internet and find the answers that I seek. Okay, because I'm an inquisitive person, and I'm not going to just roll over and play dead for those morons at YouTube or Facebook or wherever, or the mainstream media. Though the worst morons of all. They've been morons for the last 30 years, and but apparently moronic behavior is catching.
Well, just as a parting shot on this too, though, I want to make people aware that you got to be aware of these politicians now too, like people like Elizabeth Warren and others. They literally want to add to the government's power in controlling the media. Right now, it's sort of like an unholy partnership. But oh man, we certainly don't want the government to get more power over the media and social media and all that kind of stuff. It's just centralization is the problem. Decentralization is what we need.
Indeed. Jason, do you have our Knuckleheads Noise Patrol song yet?
Okay.
Do you have it? Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it. We can't do it without it.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Well, that sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded real good, as a matter of fact.
It's easier when
Okay.
you're not hosting.
So today in Knuckleheads Noise Patrol, we're going to talk about the birth of language corruption. And the Knucklehead Noise Patrol normally is something we like to end on a little light note at the end of our show. And we are at that point right now. So the White House budget director, a woman by the name of Shalanda Young, informed us that women no longer exist. Instead, we now have birthing people. According to Ms. Young, there are certain people who do not have gender identities that apply to female or male. So we think our language needs to be more inclusive in how we deal with complex issues. I guess the fact that we are only two genders, male and female, is a very complex issue for Ms. Young. I didn't realize that. I think our official policy is to make sure when people get service from their government that they feel included. And we are trying to use inclusive language. Wow.
Okay.
All of those giving birth should have access to quality health care, according to Ms. Young. What madness is this? Please help me, guys.
Well, that's okay. Fair is fair. If that's the way they want to refer to the birthing people out there, I want to be referred to as an inseminating person.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
I mean,
we'll have to get that to the Biden White House as soon as possible.
I think we should. I think all us men should be banging on their door, well, figuratively, demanding that we be referred to as inseminating persons from now on. And so there's two types of people in the world. Well, maybe they think there's 170 types, but
Yeah.
you know, there's inseminating persons. And there's birthing people and persons or people. Yeah. There you go. How's that?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea because
That's right.
apparently there are people other than women that can birth. Jason, please go ahead.
Well, you know, the birth of bad ideas from the left just never ceases. These idea of 170 different identities. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could just choose your own. Flying spaghetti monster. I don't know. I mean, what is? I mean, can I identify as short one day and identify as tall another day? Some of these things are just bizarre beyond belief. I mean, but the crazy thing is, though, language should be a voluntary interaction between people.
Yes.
So as long as it's voluntary, if your buddy wants to be the flying spaghetti monster and you still want to be friends with him, hey, cool. I mean, what's the problem?
Yes, that's true.
But it is not. I mean, it is okay. Whatever we choose to identify as and stuff is when they try to enforce it upon us is where the problems begin. These new pronouns, and now they probably want pretty soon, I guess we'll have to refer to women as birthing people. God help us, and all these other nonsense that is going on in our society. This is the kind of problems that I think they create. It's not that somebody, if I want to get up tomorrow morning and say that I'm a 6'5" Chinese woman, sure, I should be able to do that. But when I expect you guys to say, Leon, that's so nice and wonderful, I think that's a problem.
Well, true. Plus, the government is spending taxpayer money doing all this kind of nonsense too. We, if we're going to be bent out of shape about taxpayer money being spent on this, that, and the other thing, well, here's a bunch of rewrites of policy. Oh, I guess it's in their new budget, right? Okay. Well, their new budget's brand new, so maybe there isn't much cost there.
Okay, guys, I think we're at the end.
Yeah, I think I identified that our show has reached an end.
Yes, we have identified that the show has reached an end, guys. So thank you for joining us today. It's been a great time. Stay free. And always remember, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is what will keep us free and prosperous.
Yeah.
Bye.